After 7 decades as a constituent republic of the USSR, Belarus attained its independence in 1991. It has retained closer political and economic ties to Russia than have any of the other former Soviet republics. Belarus and Russia signed a treaty on a two-state union on the 8th of December 1999 envisioning greater political and economic integration. Although Belarus agreed to a framework to carry out the accord, serious implementation has yet to take place. Since his election in July 1994 as the country's first and only directly elected president, Alexander Lukashenko has steadily consolidated his power through authoritarian means and a centralized economic system. Government restrictions on political and civil freedoms, freedom of speech and the press, peaceful assembly, and religion have remained in place.
Geography.
Belarus.
Location: Eastern Europe, east of Poland.
Geographic coordinates: 5300 N, 2800 E.
Map references: Europe.
Area: total
207,600 square kilometers.
Land:
202,900 square kilometers.
Water:
4,700 square kilometers.
Country comparison to the world:
87.
Area: comparative: slightly less than twice the size of Kentucky, slightly smaller than Kansas.
Land boundaries: total
3,642 kilometers.
Border countries: 5.
Latvia 161 kilometers, Lithuania 640 kilometers, Poland 418 kilometers, Russia 1,312 kilometers, Ukraine 1,111 kilometers.
Coastline: 0 kilometers. Landlocked.
Maritime claims: none. Landlocked.
Climate: cold winters, cool and moist summers, transitional between continental and maritime.
Terrain: generally flat with much marshland.
Elevation: mean elevation
160 meters.
Elevation extremes:
90 meters lowest point.
Nyoman River
346 highest point.
Gyazhinskaya Hara.
Natural resources: timber, peat deposits, small quantities of oil and natural gas, granite, dolomitic limestone, marl, chalk, sand, gravel, clay.
Land use: agricultural land
43.7%,
arable land
27.2%, permanent crops
0.6% / permanent pasture
15.9%,
forest
42.7%,
other
13.6%.
irrigated land 1,140 square kilometers.
Population distribution: a fairly even distribution throughout most of the country, with urban areas attracting larger and denser populations.
Natural hazards: large tracts of marshy land.
Environment: current issues: soil pollution from pesticide use. Southern part of the country contaminated with fallout from 1986 nuclear reactor accident at Konobyl in northern Ukraine.
Environment: international agreements. Party to.
Air pollution: nitrogen oxides, air pollution sulfur 85, biodiversity, climate change Kyoto Protocol, desertification, endangered species, environmental modification, hazardous wastes, law of the sea, marine dumping, ozone layer protection, ship pollution, wetlands.
Signed, but not ratified.
None of the selected agreements.
Geography. Note: landlocked. Glacial scouring accounts for the flatness of Belarusian terrain and for its 11,000 lakes.
People and society.
Belarus.
Population: 9,527,543.
Country comparison to the world:
94.
Nationality. Noun.
Belarusians.
Adjective:
Belarusian.
Ethnic groups: Belarusian 83.7%, Russian 8.3%, Polish 3.1%, Ukrainian 1.7%, other 2.4%, unspecified 0.9%.
Languages: Russian, official 70.2%, Belarusian, official 23.4%, other 3.1%, includes small Polish and Ukrainian-speaking minorities. Unspecified 3.3%.
Religions: Orthodox 48.3%, Catholic 7.1%, other 3.5%, non-believers 41.1%.
Age structure: 0-14 years
15.91%, male 779,577 / female 736,481.
15-24 years
9.96%, Male 488,240 / female 460,673.
25-54 years.
44.49%. Male 2,089,202 / female 2,149,486.
55-64 years.
14.42%. Male 607,368 / female 766,238.
65 years and over.
15.22%. Male 467,299 / female 982,979.
Population pyramid.
Population pyramid.
Dependency ratios.
Dependency ratios are a measure of the age structure of a population. They relate the number of individuals that are likely to be economically dependent on the support of others. Dependency ratios contrast the ratio of youths, ages 0 to 14, and the elderly, ages 65 plus, to the number of those in the working age group, ages 15 to 64. Changes in the dependency ratio provide an indication of potential social support requirements resulting from changes in population age structures, as fertility level. More dependency ratios. Field listing.
Total dependency ratio.
43.8.
Youth dependency ratio.
23.2.
Elderly dependency ratio.
20.6.
Potential support ratio.
4.9.
Median age, total.
40.3 years.
Male.
37.4 years.
Female.
43.3 years.
Country comparison to the world.
49.
Population growth rate.
The average annual percent change in the population, resulting from a surplus, or deficit, of births over deaths and the balance of migrants entering and leaving a country. The rate may be positive or negative. The growth rate is a factor in determining how great a burden would be imposed on a country by the changing needs of its people for infrastructure, e.g., schools, hospitals, housing, roads, resources, e.g., food, water, electricity, and jobs. Rapid population growth can be seen as more population growth rate. Field listing.
Minus 0.24%.
Country comparison to the world.
211.
Birth rate. 10 births out of 1,000 population.
Country comparison to the world.
191.
Death rate. 13.2 deaths out of 1,000 population.
Country comparison to the world.
10.
Net migration rate. 0.7 migrant s out of 1,000 population.
Country comparison to the world.
61.
Population distribution. A fairly even distribution throughout most of the country, with urban areas attracting larger and denser populations.
Urbanization. Urban population.
78.6% of total population.
Rate of urbanization.
0.44% annual rate of change.
Major urban areas. Population. 2.005 million. Minsk, capital.
Sex ratio, at birth.
1.06 male, s/female.
0-14 years.
1.06 male, s/female.
15-24 years.
1.06 male, s/female.
25-54 years.
0.97 male, s/female.
55-64 years.
0.79 male, s/female.
65 years and over.
0.46 male, s/female.
Total population.
0.87 male, s/female.
Mother's mean age at first birth. 25.7 years.
Maternal mortality rate.
The maternal mortality rate, MMR, is the annual number of female deaths per 100,000 live births from any cause related to or aggravated by pregnancy or its management, excluding accidental or incidental causes. The MMR includes deaths during pregnancy, childbirth, on within 42 days of termination of pregnancy, irrespective of the duration and site of the pregnancy, for a specified year. Maternal mortality rate. Field listing.
4 deaths/100,000 live births.
Country comparison to the world.
176.
Infant mortality rate, total.
3.6 deaths out of 1,000 live births.
Male.
4 deaths out of 1,000 live births.
Female.
3.1 deaths out of 1,000 live births.
Country comparison to the world.
196.
Life expectancy at birth, total population.
73.2 years.
Male.
67.8 years.
Female.
79 years.
Country comparison to the world.
139.
Total fertility rate, 1.49 children born, woman.
Country comparison to the world.
197.
Contraceptive prevalence rate.
This field gives the percent of women of reproductive age, 1549, who are married or in union and are using, or whose sexual partner is using, a method of contraception according to the date of the most recent available data. The contraceptive prevalence rate is an indicator of health services, development, and women's empowerment. It is also useful in understanding past, present, and future fertility trends, especially in developing countries. Contraceptive prevalence rate field listing.
63.1%.
Health expenditures, 5.7% of GDP.
Country comparison to the world.
113.
Physicians density, 4.07 physicians out of 1,000 population.
Hospital bed density, 11 beds out of 1,000 population.
Drinking water source, improved.
Urban,
99.9% of population.
rural,
99.1% of population.
total,
99.7% of population.
unimproved,
Urban,
0.1% of population.
rural,
0.9% of population.
total.
0.3% of population.
Sanitation facility access, improved.
Urban,
94.1% of population.
rural,
95.2% of population.
total,
94.3% of population.
unimproved,
Urban,
5.9% of population.
rural,
4.8% of population.
total.
5.7% of population.
HIV/AIDS adult prevalence rate, 0.4%.
Country comparison to the world.
69.
HIV/AIDS, people living with HIV/AIDS, 24,000.
Country comparison to the world.
78.
HIV/AIDS deaths less than 500. Obesity adult prevalence rate 24.5%. Country comparison to the world.
58.
Education expenditures 5% of GDP.
Country comparison to the world.
75.
Literacy, definition.
Age 15 and over can read and write.
Total population.
99.7%.
Male.
99.8%.
Female.
99.7%.
School life expectancy, primary to tertiary education.
School life expectancy, SLE, is the total number of years of schooling, primary to tertiary, that a child can expect to receive, assuming that the probability of his or her being enrolled in school at any particular future age is equal to the current enrollment ratio at that age. Caution must be maintained when utilizing this indicator in international comparisons. For example, a year or grade completed in one country is not necessarily the same in terms of educational content or quality. More school life expectancy, primary to tertiary education, field listing.
Total.
16 years.
Male.
15 years.
Female.
16 years.
Unemployment, youth ages 15-24. Total.
10.7%.
Male.
12.6%.
Female.
8.5%.
Country comparison to the world.
118.
Government.
Belarus.
Country name, conventional long form.
Republika Belarus.
Conventional short form.
Belarus.
Local long form.
Respublika Belarus / Respublika Belarus.
Local short form.
Belarus / Belarus.
Former.
Belarusian. Belarusian. Soviet Socialist Republic.
Etymology.
The name is a compound of the Belarusian words bel, white, and Rus, the Old East Slavic ethnic designation, to form the meaning White Rusian or White Ruthenian.
Government type, presidential republic in name, although in fact a dictatorship.
Capital name.
Minsk.
Geographic coordinates.
5354N, 2734E.
Time difference.
UTC +2, 7 hours ahead of Washington, D.C., during standard time.
Administrative divisions. 6 provinces. Vyblastsy, singular, Vyblasts, and 1 municipality *. Horad, Brest, Homyol, Gomel, Horad Minsk *, Minsk City, Hodna, Grodno, Mahilio, Mogilev, Minsk, Vitebsk, Vitebsk.
Note.
Administrative divisions have the same names as their administrative centers. Russian spelling provided for reference when different from Belarusian.
Independence.
For most countries, this entry gives the date that sovereignty was achieved and from which nation, empire, or trusteeship. For the other countries, the date given may not represent independence in the strict sense, but rather some significant nationhood event such as the traditional founding date or the date of unification. federation, confederation, establishment, fundamental change in the form of government, or state succession. For a number of countries, the establishment of statehood. More independence field listing.
The 25th of August 1991, from the Soviet Union.
National holiday. Independence Day, the 3rd of July, 1944. Note, the 3rd of July 1944 was the date Minsk was liberated from German troops. The 25th of August 1991 was the date of independence from the Soviet Union.
Constitution. History.
Several previous, latest drafted between late 1991 and early 1994, signed the 15th of March 1994.
Amendments.
Proposed by the President of the Republic through petition to the National Assembly or by petition of at least 150,000 eligible voters. Approval required by at least two-thirds majority vote in both chambers or by simple majority of votes cast in a referendum.
Legal system. Civil law system. Note, nearly all major codes, civil procedure, criminal procedure, family, and labor, were revised and came into force in 1999 and 2000.
International Law Organization participation has not submitted an ICJ jurisdiction declaration, non-party state to the Act.
Citizenship. Citizenship by birth.
No.
Citizenship by descent only.
At least one parent must be a citizen of Belarus.
Dual citizenship recognized.
No.
Residency requirement for naturalization.
7 years.
Suffrage. 18 years of age. Universal.
Executive branch. Chief of State.
President Alexander Lukashenko. Since the 20th of July 1994.
Head of government.
Prime Minister Sergei Rumas. Since the 18th of August 2018. First Deputy Prime Minister Alexander Turchin. Since the 18th of August 2018. Deputy Prime Ministers Igor Lyashenko, Vladimir Kakarov, Igor Petroshenko. Since the 18th of August 2018. Mikhail Ruzi. Since 2012.
Cabinet.
Council of Ministers appointed by the President.
Elections/appointments.
President directly elected by absolute majority popular vote in 2 rounds if needed for a 5-year term. No term limits. First election took place on 23 June and the 10th of July 1994, according to the 1994 Constitution. The next election should have been held in 1999. However, Alexander Lukashenko extended his term to 2001 via a November 1996 referendum. Subsequent election held on the 9th of September 2001, an October 2004 referendum ended presidential term limits and allowed the president to run and win in a third. The 19th of March 2006, 4th, the 19th of December 2010, and 5th election. The 11th of October 2015. Next election in 2020, Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Ministers appointed by the President and approved by the National Assembly.
Election results.
Alexander Lukashenko re-elected President, percent of vote. Alexander Lukashenko, Independent 83.5%, Tatyana Karatkevich, Tell the Truth 4.4%, Sergei Gajdukevich, LDP 3.3%, Other 8.8%. Note. Election marred by electoral fraud.
Legislative branch. Description.
Bicameral National Assembly or Nacionalno Soberania consists of
Council of the Republic or Soviet Respubliki, 64 seats, 56 members indirectly elected by regional and Minsk city councils and 8 members appointed by the President. Members serve 4-year terms.
House of Representatives or Palata Predstaviteley, 110 seats. Members directly elected in single-seat constituencies by absolute majority vote in 2 rounds if needed. Members serve 4-year terms.
Elections. Council of the Republic. NA.
House of Representatives, last held on the 11th of September 2016, next to be held in 2020. OSCE observers determined that the election was neither free nor impartial and that vote counting was problematic in a number of polling stations. Pro-Lukashenko candidates won virtually every seat, with only the UCP member and 1 independent forming alternative representation in the House. International observers determined that the previous elections, on the 28th of September 2008 and the 23rd of September 2012, also fell short of democratic standards, with pro-Lukashenko candidates winning every seat.
Election results. Council of the Republic. Percent of vote by party. NA. Seats by party. NA. Composition. Men 39, women 17, percent of women 26.6%.
House of Representatives, percent of vote by party, NA. Seats by party: KPB 8, Belarusian Patriotic Party 3, Republican Party of Labour and Justice 3, LDP 1, UCP 1, Independent 94. Composition: men 72, women 38%, of women 34.5%. Note: total National Assembly percent of women 31.6%.
Note:
The U.S. does not recognize the legitimacy of the National Assembly.
Judicial branch, highest courts.
Supreme Court consists of the chairman and deputy chairman and organized into several specialized panels, including economic and military. Number of judges set by the President of the Republic and the court chairman. Constitutional Court consists of 12 judges including a chairman and deputy chairman.
Judge selection in term of office.
Supreme Court judges appointed by the President with the consent of the Council of the Republic, judges initially appointed for 5 years and evaluated for life appointment. Constitutional Court judges, 6 appointed by the President and 6 selected by the Council of the Republic. The presiding judge directly elected by the President and approved by the Council of the Republic. Judges can serve for 11 years with an age limit of 70.
Subordinate courts.
Oblast courts, Minsk City Court, town courts, Minsk City and Oblast economic courts.
Political parties and leaders. Pro-government parties. Belarusian Agrarian Party or AP. Mikhail Shemansky.
Belarusian Patriotic Party, Nikolai Alekhovich.
Belarusian Social Sport Party. Vladimir Alexandrovich.
Communist Party of Belarus or KPB, Alexei Sokol.
Liberal Democratic Party or LDP, Sergei Gadukovich.
Republican Party, Vladimir Beloza.
Republican Party of Labour and Justice, Vasily Zadnipriany.
Opposition parties: Belarusian Christian Democracy Party, Pavel Sevierinets, unregistered.
Belarusian Party of the Green, Anastasia Dorofayeva.
Belarusian Party of the Left Just World, Sergei Kalyagin.
Belarusian Popular Front or BPF, Ryha Kastyusu.
Belarusian Social Democratic Assembly, Stanislav Shushkevich.
Belarusian Social Democratic Party, Assembly, Obstv, Yarberisau.
Belarusian Social Democratic Party, People's Assembly, Michael A. Statkevich, unregistered.
Christian Conservative Party or BPF, Zyan Paznak.
United Civic Party or UCP, Anatoly Lebedko.
International Organization Participation, SEC, Observer, Say, Sis, Xto, EEC, U, EPK, EBT, VOW, 2, EA, IBD, ICAO, IC, NGOs, ICM, IDA, IFX, ELO, IMF, IMSO, Interpol, IOC, IOM, IPU, ISO, ITU, ITURK, NGOs, MIGA, NAM, NSK, OPK, OS, ICA, SCO, Dialogue Member, UN, UNCTAD, UNESCO, UNIDO, UNIFIL, UNUTO, UPU, UCO, UF2, NGOs, WHO, WIPO, WMO, WIDO, Observer, ZG.
Diplomatic representation in the U.S. Chief of Mission.
Ambassador, vacant, recalled by Belarus in 2008, Charged Affairs Pavel Shidlovsky, since the 23rd of April 2014.
Chancery.
1619 New Hampshire Avenue Northwest, Washington, D.C. 20009.
Telephone.
1-202-986-1606.
Fax.
1-202-986-1805.
Consulates General.
New York.
Diplomatic representation from the U.S. Chief of Mission.
Ambassador, vacant, left in 2008 upon insistence of Belarusian government. Charged Affairs Jennifer Moore, since August 2018.
Embassy.
46 Starovilenskaya Street, Minsk 220,002.
Mailing address.
Unit 7010 Box 100, POA 09769.
Telephone.
375-17-210-1283.
Fax.
375-17-234-7853.
Flag description. Red horizontal band, top, and green horizontal band 1/2 the width of the red band. A white vertical stripe on the hoist side bears Belarusian national ornamentation in red. The red band color recalls past struggles from oppression. The green band represents help and the many forests of the country.
National symbol, S. No clearly defined current national symbol. The mounted knight known as Pahonia, the chaser, is the traditional Belarusian symbol. National colors.
Green, red, white.
National anthem.
A generally patriotic musical composition, usually in the form of a song or hymn of praise. that evokes and eulogizes the history, traditions, or struggles of a nation or its people. National anthems can be officially recognized as a national song by a country's constitution or by an enacted law, or simply by tradition. Although most anthems contain lyrics, some do not. National Anthem Field Listing.
Name.
My, Belarusi, we Belarusians.
Lyrics/music.
Mkaz Klimkovich and Aladze Makarizna, Nesta Sekalaski.
Note.
Music adopted 1955, lyrics adopted 2002. After the fall of the Soviet Union, Belarus kept the music of its Soviet-era anthem but adopted new lyrics, also known as Dzayazorny Hymn Respubliki Belarus, state anthem of the Republic of Belarus.
Economy.
Belarus.
Economy overview. As part of the former Soviet Union, Belarus had a relatively well-developed industrial base, but it is now outdated, inefficient, and dependent on subsidized Russian energy and preferential access to Russian markets. The country's agricultural base is largely dependent on government subsidies. Following the collapse of the Soviet Union, an initial burst of economic reforms included privatization of state enterprises, creation of private property rights, and the acceptance of private entrepreneurship, but by 1994 the reform effort dissipated. About 80% of industry remains in state hands, and foreign investment has virtually disappeared. Several businesses have been renationalized. State-owned entities account for 70 to 75% of GDP, and state banks make up 75% of the banking sector.
Economic output declined for several years following the breakup of the Soviet Union, but revived in the mid-2000s. Belarus has only small reserves of crude oil and imports crude oil and natural gas from Russia at subsidized, below-market prices. Belarus derives export revenue by refining Russian crude and selling it at market prices. Russia and Belarus have had serious disagreements over prices and quantities for Russian energy. Beginning in early 2016, Russia claimed Belarus began accumulating debt, reaching $740 million by April 2017, for paying below the agreed price for Russian natural gas, and Russia cut back its exports of crude oil as a result of the debt. In April 2017, Belarus agreed to pay its gas debt and Russia restored the flow of crude.
New non-Russian foreign investment has been limited in recent years, largely because of an unfavorable financial climate. In 2011, a financial crisis led to a nearly threefold devaluation of the Belarusian ruble. The Belarusian economy has continued to struggle under the weight of high external debt servicing payments and a trade deficit. In mid-December 2014, the devaluation of the Russian ruble triggered a near 40% devaluation of the Belarusian ruble.
Belarus's economy stagnated between 2012 and 2016, widening productivity and income gaps between Belarus and neighboring countries. Budget revenues dropped because of falling global prices on key Belarusian export commodities. Since 2015, the Belarusian government has tightened its macroeconomic policies, allowed more flexibility to its exchange rate, taken some steps towards price liberalization, and reduced subsidized government lending to state-owned enterprises. Belarus returned to modest growth in 2017, largely driven by improvement of external conditions, and Belarus issued sovereign debt for the first time since 2011, which provided the country with badly needed liquidity, and issued $600 million worth of Eurobonds in February 2018, predominantly to US and British investors.
GDP, purchasing power parity, $179.4 billion.
$175.1 billion.
$179.7 billion.
Note.
Data in 2017 dollars.
Country comparison to the world.
70.
GDP. Official exchange rate. $54.44 billion.
GDP. Real growth rate. 2.4%.
Minus 2.5%.
Minus 3.8%.
Country comparison to the world.
136.
GDP. Per capita. PPP. $18,900.
$18,400.
$19,000.
Note.
Data are in 2017 dollars.
Country comparison to the world.
94.
Gross national saving.
Gross national saving is derived by deducting final consumption expenditure, household plus government, from gross national disposable income, and consists of personal saving, plus business saving, The sum of the capital consumption allowance and retained business profits, plus government saving, the excess of tax revenues over expenditures, but excludes foreign saving, the excess of imports of goods and services over exports. The figures are presented as a percent of GDP. A negative. More gross national saving field listing.
24.5% of GDP.
23% of GDP.
25.8% of GDP.
Country comparison to the world.
64.
GDP, composition, by end use. Household consumption.
54.8%.
Government consumption.
14.6%.
Investment in fixed capital.
24.9%.
Investment in inventories.
5.7%.
Exports of goods and services.
67%.
Imports of goods and services.
Minus 67%.
GDP, composition, by sector of origin. Agriculture.
8.1%.
Industry.
40.8%.
Services.
51.1%.
Agriculture, products, grain, potatoes, vegetables, sugar beets, flax, beef, milk.
Industries, metal cutting machine tools, tractors, trucks, earth movers, motorcycles, synthetic fibers, fertilizer, textiles, refrigerators, washing machines and other household appliances.
Industrial production growth rate, 5.6%.
Country comparison to the world.
47.
Labor force, 4.381 million.
Country comparison to the world.
89.
Labor force, by occupation. Agriculture.
9.7%.
Industry.
23.4%.
Services.
66.8%.
Unemployment rate, 0.8%.
1%.
Note.
Official registered unemployed. Large number of underemployed workers.
Country comparison to the world.
6.
Population below poverty line.
National estimates of the percentage of the population falling below the poverty line are based on surveys of subgroups, with the results weighted by the number of people in each group. Definitions of poverty vary considerably among nations. For example, rich nations generally employ more generous standards of poverty than poor nations. Population below poverty line field listing.
5.7%.
Household income or consumption by percentage share.
Data on household income or consumption come from household surveys, the results adjusted for household size. Nations use different standards and procedures in collecting and adjusting the data. Surveys based on income will normally show a more unequal distribution than surveys based on consumption. The quality of surveys is improving with time, yet caution is still necessary in making inter-country comparisons. Household income or consumption by percentage share field listing.
Lowest 10%.
21.9%.
Highest 10%.
21.9%.
Distribution of family income. Gini index.
This index measures the degree of inequality in the distribution of family income in a country. The index is calculated from the Lorentz curve, in which cumulative family income is plotted against the number of families arranged from the poorest to the richest. The index is the ratio of A, the area between a country's Lorentz curve and the 45-degree helping line, to B, the entire triangular area under the 45-degree line. The more nearly equal a country's income distribution, the closer its. More distribution of family income. Gini index field listing.
26.5.
21.7. 1998.
Country comparison to the world.
148.
Budget. Revenues.
22.15 billion.
Expenditures.
20.57 billion.
Taxes and other revenues. 40.7% of GDP.
Country comparison to the world.
35.
Budget surplus, plus, or deficit, dash. 2.9% of GDP.
Country comparison to the world.
14.
Public debt. 53.4% of GDP.
53.5% of GDP.
Country comparison to the world.
90.
Fiscal year. Calendar year.
Inflation rate, consumer prices, 6%.
11.8%.
Country comparison to the world.
184.
Central bank discount rate, 14%. The 19th of April 2017.
15%. The 15th of March 2017.
Country comparison to the world.
14.
Commercial bank prime lending rate, 9.66%.
14.4%.
Country comparison to the world.
86.
Stock of Naira money, $3.702 billion.
$2.719 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
113.
Stock of broad money, $3.702 billion.
$2.719 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
119.
Stock of domestic credit, $19.81 billion.
$20.65 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
92.
Market value of publicly traded shares, NA.
Current account balance, minus $931 million.
Minus $1.669 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
140.
Exports, $28.65 billion.
$22.98 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
68.
Exports, partners, Russia 43.9%, Ukraine 11.5%, UK 8.2%.
Exports, commodities, machinery and equipment, mineral products, chemicals, metals, textiles, foodstuffs.
Imports, $31.58 billion.
$25.61 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
65.
Imports, commodities, mineral products, machinery and equipment, chemicals, foodstuffs, metals.
Imports, partners, Russia 57.2%, China 8%, Germany 5.1%.
Reserves of foreign exchange in gold, $7.315 billion.
$4.927 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
84.
Debt, external, $39.92 billion.
$37.74 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
75.
Stock of direct foreign investment, at home, $6.929 billion.
$7.241 billion. The 31st of December 2015.
Country comparison to the world.
100.
Stock of direct foreign investment, abroad, $3.547 billion.
$4.649 billion. The 31st of December 2015.
Country comparison to the world.
79.
Exchange rates, Belarusian rubles, BYB/BYR, per US dollar.
1.9.
2.
2.
15,926.
10,224.1.
Energy.
Belarus.
Electricity access, electrification, total population.
100%.
Electricity production, 31.58 billion.
Country.